Hi guys, I'm here with Mia from Mia Lake Interiors discussing the latest project, The Oaks. The brief on this project from the developer was 5 townhouses appealing to the Southern Shire market, but also with a contemporary and coastal vibe.
Okay guys, so what I'll talk you through is the process, and I'll point out the key elements that I value when I'm designing. I generally, when I'm designing, think about the end user, but in this case, because we were doing 5 townhouses and I didn't know who that end user was, we knew that we had to keep the palette somewhat neutral so we could appeal to the mass market. Saying that, we did have some direction from McGrath Real Estate Agent. We were told that it was probably going to be young professionals starting a family or downsizers. With my sort of history and experience with people at that stages of their life, they're looking for things that look good but without the issue of maintenance. So I normally start with designing the kitchen first, but I fell in love with the bathroom layout because it looked onto this internal courtyard and I loved the tropical plants that we put outside. So I came to you, Jonathan, and I said, look, I've got this crazy idea. I want something coastal, I want something bohemian, I want something Balinese. How can I get the best of all of those and still be really neutral? Please point me in the right direction.
Yeah, it was a bit of an omelette to begin with, to be honest, but we came to the conclusion that being in the area that suits the coast, we wanted to go with a light beachy, travertine-inspired product that was really low maintenance. The real estate agents at McGrath pointed us in the right direction in the target audience, and so we came up with these really earthy tones that tied in quite well together with the brass tapware.
When we started with the sample board with the client, we found some inspiration images, and in the back of my mind I was always thinking about the end user and what are the other elements that they're going to put in. So while some of these images here aren't necessarily what's going to go in, it does help complete the full story because it's not just the tiles or the carpet, there's going to be furniture and artwork. So you've got to leave a little bit of room for those added extra pieces.
And so you mentioned inspiration. I mean, what was maybe the key finish that helped begin this design process for you?
The key finish was this aged brass tapware. It's an Australian made brand and I just love that it's not perfect and it will continue to patina. Australians are a little bit obsessed with everything being perfect, but then you get no soul or character out of it. So because we were going quite neutral with the bathrooms, I wanted to have that impact, but also something that's quite soulful. So these beautiful taps were used with the shower fittings, the bath fittings and the basin fittings, and also we colour matched the toilet flush plate.
You know, and with such a beautiful bathroom design, how did you then relate that to the kitchen?
So again, we wanted to keep it tactile, but very quiet and neutral, but also practical because I was mindful that this is where all the mess is created, this is the busiest part of the house, so you want to make sure that it is practical as well. We did this beautiful marble penny round splashback and it just adds the most gorgeous texture, the veining and the variation of colour. It's just beautiful. But the way we made that practical is that we kept a engineered bench top running on the horizontal surface and we just wrapped it up a little bit of the splashback, and that created a splash zone which is very easy to clean, and then the gorgeous material sits above that and it doesn't get touched. The other thing that we did, which was a nice little touch, is we related that timber that was in the bathroom in the cabinetry, and we did this beautiful timber shelf that continued under the overhead cupboards. Now, what was important about this is it enabled the potential purchaser to have a display where they could put cookbooks or a vase or some beautiful objects, and it really allows them to make the kitchen their own.
Really interesting aspect of the bathroom is the brass that you discussed, Mia, and how did you then tie that back into the kitchen?
Well, I knew that I had to have the same finish on the kitchen tap. That was really important to me. I feel like the tapware is a little bit like jewellery, and you've got to stay with the one colouring throughout the house. So that was a must to have that aged brass feature in the kitchen.
That's a really good point. You know, we've also transitioned that now into kitchen sinks that match the tapware and also waste as well. So we're really honing in on the continuity aspect. Mia, one of the really interesting aspects of the living room was the stone fireplace, especially when we went down the avenue of selecting a large format tile as the hearth. Tell me a little bit about that.
So this fireplace was quite gorgeous actually. It sat in between two windows, and I really wanted to ground the fireplace so it wasn't just this floating vertical element. I wanted to actually stretch it throughout the living room. So what we did was we created a plinth, and we wanted a darker material. So I came and spoke to you, and I was really grateful for your advice around what would be appropriate around the fireplace, and also what would give me that impact without spending too much money for the developers. And we came up with a great solution, and I think it turned out beautiful.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it could even become a place for seating.
Definitely, it's a great spot. Someone could put a seat cushion there and sit by the window. You could put a sculptural object, a floor lamp, or you could just simply appreciate the stone tile that we had there.
And very practical for an open flame surface. I mean, low maintenance product, quite easy to clean, but also robust. So yeah, looking forward to seeing that come alive.
Jonathan, thanks again for having me. It's always a pleasure coming to Amalfi Tiles, and the time that you spend with me, I really, really appreciate it. The effort is really appreciated.
Thanks, Mia. I mean, pleasure's all ours. We love having you in here, and of course, working with these big projects, we really look forward to the next stage, which is the installation and the finished product. So thanks again for your time.